You may have noticed that very few SEO agencies show pricing on their web pages. So why is that? This page and video and podcast will try and explain why. Now, the reason that many agencies don't show price on their pages, it's actually quite difficult to figure out how much a job is going to cost in a lot of cases. But we're going to try and get past that, and ultimately I'm going to try and give you some prices for our services here at SEO. So, why is the price difficult? Why is it variable? What are the variables? Well, every business has different challenges and opportunities, and therefore every website has different challenges and opportunities. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to pricing an SEO project, mainly because everyone needs a different approach. There are so many factors affecting what SEO can cost, and a lot of them are either outside of your control or outside of our control or outside of both of our controls. The level of competition in a marketplace is a particularly big one. If you're new to a market and everyone else is already really established, that's going to be challenging. That's just one example, but it is a good example of why there can't be a uniform pricing model for all SEO agencies and all websites. So for the purposes of this video and podcast and webpage, we are going to be talking about SEO costs in the UK. Things are really different everywhere else in the world for a wide variety of reasons. Most notably in America, where things are quite a lot more expensive, or spicy, as you might say. So this page is going to, and video and podcast, I'll stop saying that in a minute, is going to try and go a bit better than giving like ballpark figures. I want to try and be a little bit more precise than that. So you can use this as a rough idea of how much SEO services cost. Obviously, I can only reveal my own costs. I don't necessarily know exactly what all other SEO agencies in the UK are charging. So let's have a look at the process. Every proposal we create here at SEO includes a feasibility study. We do this for free, unless it's like a massive website. And we do this, first of all, to make sure that there will be an opportunity for ranking improvements, and also to ensure all our clients get a really good ROI, return on investment, on the project. Now, enough selling my company and more talking about SEO pricing. Cliche dictates that it's impossible to give a diagnosis impossible to prescribe without a diagnosis. And when you meet with any SEO consultant or agency, there's only so much sort of foresight can be rolled into figuring out exactly how big or small an SEO project's going to be. So once you start an SEO project, the fees you pay can actually go down. Sometimes they go up, but that happens less often. So let's have a look at these variables. What can actually affect the cost of an SEO project going up, what can affect it going down, and what from the start might be factors that are included when any SEO agency or freelancer or consultant you're speaking to is working out how much to charge you for SEO. First of all, let's have a look at the variables that can put the prices up. If you have a non-standard web platform, so if you're not using WordPress, Drupal, or any of the Squarespace, any of the main ones. I mean, for us, if you use Wix, then unfortunately we won't work with Wix platforms. But if you have something that's hand-coded, that tends to put the price up. The reason being that it means the developers and the SEO experts have to spend a little bit more time just figuring out how to make changes and figuring out what changes are possible. For example, on some platforms, you can't do something as simple as add alt text to images really easy. That's a very minor one, but it's quite a good example. So what other things might affect it? Well, do you as a client or a business owner or a marketing professional have really clear idea of what your ideal client personas are? Who is your market? Who are you approaching? If you ever speak to an SEO agency who asks you what your target market is and you say everyone, you might see them just back off a little bit, or at least put the pricing up. The more you know about your business and your ideal target market, the easier an SEO agency will find it to work with you. Another thing that might put the price up is if you don't have any internal resource. Now that might be for developers. Do you have somebody in your company who can work on the website or at least knows how to log into it? Do you have somebody in your company who can do PR? Do you have somebody in your company who can write? Having or not having these things rather puts the price up, because it means the SEO agency, SEO in this case, has to go and find these resources for you, or in reality, we use our own team for things like that. But if we don't have to use the team, your price goes down. Do you have targets set? Do you know what your KPIs are? What are your key performance indicators? Do you know where it is you want to go? If you don't know where it is you want to go, that can actually put up your SEO costs, because we want to help you figure that out. It's much easier for us if you say, a year from now we want this many more leads, or we want to dominate this part of the market, or we want to find new customers in this part of the world. That makes life for an SEO agency much easier. We will help you figure those things out, but we have to factor in a certain amount of time to do that. Do you know how to control your domain? Do you know where your domain's registered? Do you know anything about your DNS or any of those complex things? Do you have documentation about how your website stays alive, where is it's hosted, and all those kind of things? If you don't have documentation, it may well put your prices up, because it means the SEO agency or consultant has to figure those things out for you, and that can be very time consuming. How competitive is your market? Is it intensely competitive? Is it everybody having a bun fight to get to the top of Google? Or do you have the sneaking suspicion you might be one of the first companies to actually do anything about SEO? These things are all important. This is one of the things we look at with the initial feasibility study. This is one of the reasons we tend to do a little bit of free competitor analysis before giving any client a proposal. We want to know how much work it's going to be. It might be that you're launching a new car and you want to beat BMW. Afraid you're not going to do that. Have you had previous bad experiences with an SEO agency? Sometimes when we're looking at the initial stages of working with a new client, we dig into some of the work that's happened before, and if it's been not great, then it can take a while to unpick that. If, for example, the previous SEO agency just bought thousands of links, that can be a bit of a hassle to unpick, so that can put the price up for your SEO quote. How usable is your website? Is it easy to find things? Is it clunky? How old is it? These things also have an effect. Good SEO is very, very bound up in how delightful your website is to use. If it's not delightful, it's going to put your costs up, because we'll want to fix those things, as will any agency that you work with. How big is your website? Now, this is always an interesting one, and I think a lot of people think website size is subjective. It's really not. For us, if you have 200 pages, we'd consider that kind of starter level. If you have more than 5,000 pages, we'd consider that a large website. If you have millions of pages, well, that's definitely a big website. This has a big impact on the cost of your SEO proposal, because a lot of changes we might have to make on lots and lots and lots of pages. A good example is if you've got a really healthy blog archive with hundreds of blog posts, it's going to take us a long time to optimize all that, so the price goes up. Alternatively, if you've got a fairly new website and only a few posts, it might make the cost go down quite a lot, because coming in at that early stage, we can really help you and guide you and ensure that every bit of effort you make writing and creating content is going to be as powerful and well optimized as possible from the day each bit of content is launched. So they're the things that put your costs up. I don't think any of them are negative, they're just things that it's worth being aware of. So let's have a look at things that can reduce your SEO costs. If you have a strong marketing strategy, that reduces your costs. Again, it's that thing about knowing where you want to go. That really helps. If we speak to a new client and they say, this is our strategy, these are the tactics we've used so far, this is where we see ourselves going, love it. Brilliant. Makes life much easier, means it takes less of our time, means we can get on with the good stuff, the geeky stuff, the nerdy stuff, the SEO tech stuff we love so much. How aware is your market of you? If you have a good reputation, it greatly reduces the amount your SEO can cost, unless your website's huge. I'll stop with the caveats and tangents now. If people already know you're great, then SEO is a great way of amplifying your excellence, amplifying the message of just how good you are. If you've got a good reputation, if you've got a stunning PR department, that makes your SEO costs reduce. Have you got internal copywriters? I touched on this a little bit with variables that make your costs go up. But if you've got a team of writers or even one copywriter, that can make your SEO costs go down, because it means that the SEO agency you're working with, or the SEO in this case, doesn't have to provide that as a service. A lot of SEO agencies, including us, will provide content briefs and strategies and say, look, you need to write about these things then, and it needs to be this many words, you need to include these paragraphs, use these, all those things in a content brief still happen. That's great. Incidentally, copywriters tend to like this because giving a copywriter a very well fleshed out brief tends to be quite popular with copywriters. At least I'm yet to meet any that don't like it. Right, have you got developers? If you've got a team of in-house developers, at least said programmers, but we're not in the 90s anymore, then that makes your costs go down a lot. A lot of time we spend at an SEO agency is working with our own developers or bringing extra people in to fix problems on websites. If you've got your own developers already, that's great. We love those projects, partly because they speak the same language as us. Geek. Hopefully, as you notice, there is very little geek talk in this video. This is what we try and do with everything public facing. We try and keep it realistic and understandable. Have you worked with an SEO agency successfully before? This can reduce the costs. If you've parted ways for whatever reason, sometimes people just move away or fancy a change. If you have an understanding of the way SEO agencies work, this will reduce your SEO costs, because your SEO agency won't have to educate you as much. We love educating people. In fact, with SEO, it's literally like one of the biggest parts of our mission to democratize SEO knowledge. So if you've worked at an SEO company before, it should reduce your costs. What's your company governance like? How well is your company run? If your company's run really well, it'll reduce your SEO costs. You see the pattern forming here. If you know what you're doing, you bring an SEO agency to amplify your message, amplify your excellence. If you're not quite ready yet and your SEO agency has to chase your team members around for bits of content or to get answers about things, it invariably puts the cost up because it's money spent looking for things. Every time an SEO agency or anyone in SEO has to hunt for something that they didn't create, it takes time, and time is money. So it puts the cost up. How good are your reviews? Have you got tons of really good customer reviews? Again, makes our job easier. We like to see that. Finally, how is your digital marketing knowledge as a whole? We sometimes find it easier to work with either marketing directors who have a good broad knowledge of all the opportunities in digital marketing, or business owners who are absolutely obsessed with using the internet to develop their business. That puts our costs down because we don't have to spend a lot of time selling concepts. We just say, this is what we propose. They say what difference it will make. We say this. We measure it with KPIs. We're all off to the races. Right then, there are several different ways you can work with SEO consultants or agencies that will also have an impact on the cost. Incidentally, I'm not actually going to, it's a bit of a spoiler this late into the video, but I'm not going to give prices out loud in this video or the podcast if you're listening on the podcast. Go to yeseo.io/SEO-pricing. There you'll see the prices. I don't want to put it in the video of the podcast because the podcasts and videos will sit somewhere for a long, long time and pricing does change. Right, so different models, different time models you can work with SEO agencies. Monthly SEO campaigns. Here at SEO we don't like to call them retainers because it just sounds like you're sitting in a room somewhere just waiting to hear from your client. Good SEO agencies are tenacious. They go out and look. They're very proactive. So a monthly campaign, this is our favourite way of working. Partly for financial stability, I'm going to be honest with you there, but also because the longer we work with the client, the more we get to know the opportunities in their market, the better we get to know them. Sometimes with clients, we'll meet as often as every week, 2 hours every week for kind of the higher tier of the clients we work with, and we dig deeper and deeper and deeper into what the opportunities are. That's where the real magic happens. That's the astronomical results. But there's a bigger investment in terms of cost and our time and your time. We do ad hoc consultancy, as do a lot of SEO agencies. If somebody contacts us and says, look, you just check up on something, or can you give me the answer to why this is happening? Can you look into this competitor in some depth? They're just ad hoc projects. We charge for those by the hour. We can send you a booking link. You just click it, pay, then you've got access to a senior SEO consultant. Sometimes it's me. By the end of that hour, generally we have some good results. During that hour we use all our software, all our skills, if it's me, I use my nearly 25 years of experience in SEO to get to the nub of it, and then it stops. You then will give you providing supporting documents and whatever, but you're largely free to roam and go and solve it. And then a lot of clients do that, come back 2 or 3 times a year just for a checkup, just to look for new opportunities, just to catch up and share data and get another opinion on things. Then there's project work. There might be something that is going to take 2 or 3 months, and it will be for a specific goal. It can be almost anything, but a good example is a website migration or a website build. If clients are going to build a new website, we'll very much work with the developer. It's another opportunity to just get as much value crushed out of any money you're spending on a new website as possible. Have a developer work in tandem with an SEO consultant. It's remarkable the difference it can make. It also speeds things up. So that's project work. What else have we got? I'm just looking at my little list that I've got behind here. Could you tell I was looking at a list? Anyway, I've broken the fourth wall there, so I'll scrap that. I'll drop that and carry on. Coaching. A lot of agencies and consultants offer coaching. We absolutely do. Some people we've coached will meet with us a couple of times a month for 3 months, 6 months, forever. It's a really good way of developing your SEO skills. We work with other SEO consultants sometimes. I tell you where coaching works really well for SEO. If you have an internal marketing team, especially if it's a digital marketing team, and even if they have some SEO knowledge, this coaching that doesn't just say do this, click that, move that there, fix that. The coaching is much more about helping people arrive at why we do things the way we do in SEO, not just how to do them. This is really powerful because the coaching will come to an end. That's kind of the goal we're working for, and then that person is off and away. They grow their wings and they fly and they become excellent. Those people do come back sometimes just to check up on things, just check they're pointing the boat in the right direction. Right, this video is getting longer now. That's why I'm coming up with silly analogies. It won't be long before I start talking about Vikings probably. So on to the costs. As I say, I'm not going to give you the exact costs here, but if you go to yeseo.io/SEO-pricing, you will see we have published prices. A lot of these prices are for one-off project costs. So if clients work with us on a monthly basis, they can sort of get most of these things as a part of the package. But as you'll see as you look through the prices, some things like writing, there's a definite figure there that we can give you. Other things are a bit more fuzzy and a bit more variable. For example, we can't give you an exact cost for how much it will be for us to fix and optimize your website fully, because until we start working on it, we don't always know what it is we need to do. We have a quick look when writing a proposal, but these things can change. Remember, costs can go down as well as up. There's lots of other things that are just one-off fees, like, let's check Google Search Console is set up correctly. That then can become an ongoing fee as a part of a monthly package because we monitor Google Search Console. There is a long list of things, and it's going to get longer each time one of us here at SEO thinks of something we do. Good SEO is kind of instinct. It's kind of knowing what the opportunities are. It's using a toolbox and knowing which spanner or which screwdriver to use at any one time. It's not about doing all the things all the time. The theory is everyone has this much resource to try and rank, and that much resource might be £1 million, that much resource might be £5,000, that much resource might be £100. Whatever that resource is, a good SEO consultant and agency will help you get as much value out of that as possible. Then we are on to additional services. Now, I can't speak for all SEO agencies here, but having been around for quite a while, we have quite a good understanding of the world of digital marketing. Sometimes additional services that aren't directly provided us will really help an SEO project. A good example is UX, or user experience analysis. We can give you a price for this. We've got user experience people that we've been working with for many, many years. There's a project cost for that. You do it. You do it. We do it. The way we are increasingly working is we will manage anyone who comes in to do additional work, whether that's podcast editing, Google Analytics, custom report setup, video production, Google Ads management, the list goes on and on and on, even including graphic design. We'll manage that because then that person is our responsibility. They're inside our culture, and more importantly, they're inside our project management system. So we put prices up where we can for additional services as well. So was this video useful? Tell you what, I'm going to run through some FAQs. How much does SEO cost? It depends. If you're doing well and you just want to push that little bit harder to absolutely dominate, it might not be all that much. If you're starting out from scratch, it could be a lot more expensive. How much does SEO cost in the UK? Less than it does elsewhere. But again, it's better to think in terms of what is it you want to achieve. What do you want someone who's cheap? Or do you want someone who's got experience that can get faster results? How much does SEO cost per month? Depends on your budget. Do you want to do a lot of things and try and bring those results closer to you faster? Or do you want to meter it out and learn about SEO? I don't think there's any right or wrong answer to that. What the average price is for SEO. Again, I can't speak for the whole industry, but having done a bit of research, you can pay as little as £100 a month, or you can pay as much as £100,000 a month. In fact, I don't think there is an upper limit to how much you pay. So the real answer is what's appropriate for your budget and your goals, and your internal resource if you have some. What influences SEO process price? All of the above. I mean, if I put it into one sentence, I'd say the biggest influence on SEO price is complexity, opportunity, negative issues, market knowledge and competition. Now, all of those things can relate as much to the SEO client as they can the SEO services providers. So there you go. This is a video where we are wearing our heart on our sleeve with being transparent around SEO. Hopefully this helps. Let us know. We'd love to speak to you. I'm just going to sit here like this for a little while because there's little cards popping up to show you other videos. I hope this is helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to say tutty bye. Bye-bye.